All right, welcome to Grace Baptist Church. This is Brother Mike Watson. We'll be doing for the next couple of weeks. I think I'm looking about maybe 5 to 6 weeks. I'm going to do the Sunday school message. And Sunday school message is about behavioral change, and I'll go in more in detail. And so the first part of it is just going to be the introduction and the overview of how I'm going to connect. This is a theory that I learned when I was in school. And I'll get into more detail. But it's a trans-theoretical model of behavior. In the textbook, the textbook definition, what it says is this here. And most of this is textbooks. It's got to do with fitness as I go on. So trans-theoretical model of behavior is an intentional behavior modification. Behavior change is a dynamic process that occurs through a series of interrelated stages that are mostly stable but open to change. So, and it goes on to say the model emphasizes of individuals or motivation, readiness to change, personal history regarding target behavior. For example, people, and this is because I'm a personal trainer, so we'll get into that. For example, people who exercise successfully in the past would have a little more confidence in their ability to exercise than somebody that's been sedentary most of their lives. So, why I chose this topic, the theoretical model of behavior, I wanted to see if, and because as I went through the stages, I wanted to see if I could apply it in my, transformation, my salvation. I wanted to see, and then I started seeing, even though this is a man's theory, the stages kind of connected, and like I said, as we go forward, I'm going to, put a spiritual context to all of these verses and passages in the Bible. But I started seeing that there was a process with all of us. From when we were lost to now we are saints. It didn't happen overnight. So we can't say, like I say, what I got down and say, as a personal trainer, my job is to try to motivate and learn and teach people and get them into training and stuff and try to, be a blessing and a benefit to them. So before we became saints and got saved, there had to be changes occurred. We didn't just wake up one morning and say, well, hey, I'm going to be a Christian. It didn't work like that. Sometimes now someone's been saved longer than others, but there was a time when if you look at the pre-contemplation, we wasn't seriously thinking about it. Now, at this stage, and now this is an overview. Next week, I will take each one of these week to week, and we will look in-depthly in them. But you got to think about it. Think about before you became saved. And when you first heard a presentation of the gospel, depending on where you was at or where you was at in your life, you either rejected or you didn't seriously think about it. That's just how it is. We had stages to go through. Okay, so like this stage, and I know plenty, I know listeners, listen to everybody here talk and witness. People in this stage, sometimes they're rebellious. When you're witnessing to them, they're rebellious. They're not going to accept what you say, especially if they could have an addiction that they want to hold on to or whatever. So they're denying the needs of change. And I'll put this little 6 months. The reason why, because when Brother Vince, or Brother Chris's brother, come to me, he came to me, and at the time I wasn't ready to change. I heard him, but I stayed content to where I was at. And a lot of times when we're in this stage, that's where we're at. You can hear a presentation of the gospel, but then you gotta want to stay where you're at. Even though you might know it's true, you still like, I'm all right now. I'm all right. I think about something Brother Chris said, and I listen to him. When you were at that stage, you remember one time I think you told us that you was in the Marine and you said you was a Christian, and I guess your behavior didn't show that, and the guy said, Christian, and you got combated. You wanted to fight him, and he said, still, I'll beat you. Well, it still don't make you no Christian. But this is this stage where, see, Brother Chris, he had a religion. Well, it wasn't a real religion, it was a false religion. He thought he was all right. And so when he got challenged on it, this is in this stage, it bothered him. It's in this stage. That's just like Jesus dealing with the Pharisees. He dealt with them, and most of them, a lot of times, they were mad. They were ready to, we can go, let's go to John 5. And just look at some content, and then we got, because I have to speed it on, because I got to get to what is about behavior. So we go to John 5. So I'm looking at some pre-contemplation verses. So you go to John 5, 6, 17. Let's go to 5, 17, 18. All right. 5, 17, 18. All right. So what we see in this is that Jesus had just healed the man from the lame man from the pool of Bethesda. All right, and it says, what it says, but Jesus answered to them, my Father worketh thereto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought more to kill him, because not only had he broken the Sabbath, but he said also God was his Father, making him equal with God. He was telling them the truth. But yet they were in this stage and they wanted to kill him. They wasn't thinking about changing. They was going to hold on to what they believe in. This is what this stage is about. All right, now we're going to go to the contemplation stage. And the contemplation stage, and here's another thing we're going to do as we go forward. We're going to do some intervention, to help us maybe more with witnessing and, understanding a little bit, because in the Bible we're going to see that God did intervention. He did intervention intervention was on behalf of us, with the saints coming to us, in each stage. So throughout the Bible, intervention was done for the eunuch. Intervention was done. Jesus himself did intervention for Paul on the Damascus Road. So we see that there's going to be an intervention. But the contemplation stage, see what this stage says, the individual is seriously thinking about changing an unhealthy behavior. Like I said, it's got to do with fitness, but you see what I got, sin or loss. All right. He's seriously thinking, but that don't mean he's gonna go any further. All of these stages don't mean that, hey, most people probably going to stay there. And even if they are thinking, I'm going to show you a passage. Like I said, I don't want to get too far, but I'm going to show you a passage, because we're going to go one by one to where you're going to say, man, that fits. This is a contemplation stage, and y'all going to know what I'm talking about. Let's go to Acts contemplation stage. Let's go to Acts 24. Let's go to Acts 24. Let's go to Acts 24. Here's a contemplation stage, and like I said, we're going to get into detail. Acts 24, you know the verse. Acts 24 through 5 to 25. Acts 24. All right. After certain days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewish, he sent for Paul. So you can see he was contemplating just when he said he sent for Paul, and heard him concerning the faith in Jesus Christ. And look what happened. And as he reasoned of righteousness, temperance, and judgment to come, Felix trembled and answered and said, go thy way, for this time, when I have a convenient season, I will call for thee. He was contemplating it. He was seriously thinking about it. He called for Paul. He sent for Paul, but we ever heard no more that he progressed. When Vince first witnessed to me and talked to me, like I said, it was probably 6 months before I came into this church. It was 6 months. And listen here, as we go, you're going to see how, spiritually we can connect spiritual applications with all of these. These just like I say, and then let's go, stay while we're in here, let's go to, just go over a little bit, Acts 26, 28. We know Paul gave his testimony before King Agrippa. King Agrippa, and Paul tells him, you know this stuff, King Agrippa, just to pray, you know what I'm talking about is true. But look what verse 28 says. Then King Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuaded me to be a Christian. He was seriously thinking about it. He took it seriously, but He didn't go any further. No account that King Agrippa got saved. So we see we got verses that connect with pre-contemplation and an individual contemplating. How many times have we done witnessed the people, and they, like I said, they're thinking about it like, man, yeah, you were right, and I need to do this, but they don't go any further. This is when I train, I try to encourage people to, take that effort, take that first foot and come on, we do that with our witnesses. That's why it's another reason it was, when Brother Chris said, do something what you do, something that you can relate to and try to, in the world. So I'm a personal trainer. And this thing, I try to get people to change their behavior, get them to train, get them to think about fitness. Preparation stage. I think I mentioned the preparation stage. There's a couple of them, but what do I have in the preparation stage? Preparation stage. Philip in the Ethiopian eunuch. That's where intervention comes. Philip in the Ethiopian eunuch. Look at him. See what it says on the preparation stage? That's a transitional stage. Intends to take action. Plans have been made, but what to do next? What to do next? The Ethiopian eunuch, let's go to 8, and I'll kind of like I say, it may not be absolute, but listen here. The Ethiopian eunuch, he had made some plans, 8:26. And we'll see what, and the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, arise and go towards the south in the way that he goeth down to Jerusalem and Gaza, which is river. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of the Ethiopian, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, the queen of the Ethiopians, who had charge of all her treasure, has come to Jerusalem to worship, and was returning and sitting in his chariot, reading Isaiah the prophet. Then the Spirit said unto Philip, go, here's some intervention, near, and join thyself to this chariot. Now look where, and Philip ran hither to him, and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, and said, understanding thou what he's reading, he said, how can I accept some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come and sit with him. The Ethiopian eunuch was making preparations when he went down there. He didn't understand, but that's where God sent some intervention to those with the right heart. God sent Philip to guide him, help guide him. And so we see when you listen, one thing about it, when you got an open heart, and God saw, listen, I didn't know, this like something, man, I didn't know about worship, I didn't know, I thought I knew. I'd come up in church, but man, I wasn't listening. I was lost. But I look back on my transformation, being saved. I went through these stages. Like I say, contemplating. That's what I started contemplating. Man, Brother Vince been witnessing to me. And I told him, I said, I'm going to come to church. But it took about 6 months, and then I contemplated. I said, I'm not going to lie to you. When I say I'm coming, I'm coming. I'm going to be the one to say I'm coming. But I should have been in there. But I started making preparations. I said, well, what I need to wear, how do you, just come as you are. Just come, Vincent, just come as you are. What about the Bible? Get your King James. So I started, get your King James Bible, and and so, and what else, Brother Vince?
Until you get a helmet.
He should have, man, because it was wrong. Get your Bible, stuff, he says. I said, well, I need to start reading stuff. He said, well, start at the gospel, start at John. That's what, so I'm getting, I'm not saved, but I'm prepared. I'm trying to get myself, find out what's going on and what I need to do and stuff. But that's what we do. That was the process. That was the process. And then, we get down, and like I said, we're just going to briefly touch these. Then we get down to the action. Now, you see, I got a question mark by the action stage. Now, individual, all these first days, center loss, but he's progressing. Don't mean that, listen, he's going to always progress down, because we know that. We witness the people, how many people, especially with those who got another religion, you about have to put up your fist. Y'all know that. So when we get down to the action stage, what it says, individual is participating in some regular healthy behavior activity. And this got to do with fitness, but we're going to put it in a spiritual context, but has not developed into a habit. This stage, you see what it says? This stage is the highest risk of relapse. And guess where it goes back? Into a more familiar lifestyle. How many people we know have been in these doors? And I'm going to show you some verses because, like I say, starting next week, we'll take them individual. How many people, let's go over and tell how many people we know have been in these doors and come regularly, maybe every other week or something, but come and then you don't see them no more. As long as I've been, I've seen plenty of them, you know, and they come, they heard the same thing we heard, but decided, you know, for whatever reason, a lot of times we know, let's go to 2 Peter, you know this verse. It's a verse that goes with the action verse. 2 Peter, let's go 2 Peter 2. 2 Peter 2. And then I can say next week, I won't, you got that, I'm going to erase most of this and we're going to go one by one. 2 Peter 2, 2 Peter 2, 21 to 22. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than to have known it and turn away from holy commandments delivered unto them. But it is happened unto them, and Brother Chris has preached plenty of messages on this, but it has happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her own wallowing in the mire. This is the action verse, and there's going to be some more. There's another one that I put down. And we'll talk a little bit about it. So we see people can be coming to church, seem like regular, listening, intent, but listen here, that don't mean they're going to stay. You know, we see what that verse talks about. They done heard the word, and it's sad because, you know what, as I was thinking about it, you know, I'm like, you know, when they leave here and they're not saved, they're going to think about, man, I heard the truth. God sent intervention. He sent this brother to me, that brother to me. Look at what it says. Here's another one. Now look here. You don't think these folks is going? Here's action to the fullest. Let's go to you know which one, John. Let's go to John 6. Here's another action verse, John 6. Let's go to John 6. You will know it. John 6. John 6. Things got a little rough. We know that Brother Chris had preached on this one here too. But these are verses that we can connect. John 6, let's go to John 6:60. And we're going to see. John 6:60. Many therefore of his disciples, when they have heard this, say, this is a hard saying, who can hear it? So, you know, and we're going to go down further. When Jesus knew in himself that disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, does this offend you? What if I say you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Spirit that quickened the flesh, profiting nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are the Spirit, and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. For Jesus knew from the beginning who they were and believed not, and who should betray him. And he said, therefore I say to you that no man can come unto me except it was given unto him by the Father. From that time many of his disciples went back, and look what it says, and walked no more with him. What do you think they went back to? What they was familiar with. A lot of times I have had clients that, and it may be, you know, it was getting a little rough for them. It was getting tough. Training is hard. It gets a little rough. But I can promise you they saw the benefits, but as you know, just like I have had clients that I have trained for about 3 months, benefits, I mean, for blood pressure, cholesterol, things that got them lost weight, and then all of a sudden, maybe it wasn't fast enough, maybe it was getting a little tough, but they saw the benefits, it was working, and then they quit. I got a text of a lady, 3 months, she had lost 35 pounds. Show it to you, she went and had a doctor's, went and had her apartment. She said in 3 months she wanted some things, some changes. Her diabetes was like 10.4. After 3 months of training with me, it dropped down to 6.2, almost 4 points or something like that. And the doctor said, whatever she was doing, keep doing it. He cut her, I can show you the text, he cut her medication, a blood pressure medication in half, a cholesterol medication in half, diabetic medication in half, because she was doing so good. And then after that, she stopped coming. She stopped. How's she doing now? I don't know. You know, I reached out to her time or two, a while back. She said she won't intend on coming back, but she's not. She said her job was demanding. But how many people have we had in this church that we even pray for now that have been in here? And then you don't see them anymore. That's the action stage. Could get saved right here, but it's going to be the consistency. But as I say, is this the stage where the highest risk? You know, people get, like they may be going through things. I think Sister Ethel was me when she was training, when she was telling me about a young lady, and I don't know her name, and I won't give her name, I don't know her name, but she was coming regular, and things were changing, and you know, I think she had professed salvation, but after a while something happened, and Sister Ethel said she reached out to her, and she said she was having problems. And we're going to see a lot of times in each stage, there's a reason why, you know. That's just like the parable of the sower, and that's going to be a part of it. We're going to see why as we go to stage, you know, what happens, you know, the things, the pressures of this world. I remember Mike Brown, you know, at the time I didn't understand, because I was dealing with something, and he was talking, I never forget, he said, boy, you got grounded. And I was like, whatever that mean at the time, I think, because, you know, there were people coming in here, and I was going through some things, but I just stayed. And that's where we as Christians, we got to realize, that's where my next point, look at the clock, my next point, my introduction may take 2 weeks, but we got to see where we're at a time. My next point will be about behavior, and it'll be about Christian behavior. This is all about behavior and what Christian behavior means to the world. We're ambassadors for Christ. The world ain't going to see Christ, they're going to see us. Our behavior really means something, and that's what this is about. So we will get into Christian behavior as we go forward. Point an example. Y'all behavior, what influenced me? Brother Christian spoke it, 2 Sundays ago, and I couldn't do that but smile. His behavior, 40-something years ago when him and his wife went back, he was saved, had an influence on his Aunt Camille. She said, it wasn't what you said, it was what you did with your wife, is how you behave. It makes a difference. So as we go forward, we're going to get into, you know, why Christian behavior matters, but like I said, we're going to go down to each one of these. Maintenance we'll get down, as we get down, you're saved then. Maintenance is what we do, and Brother Chris, like I said, I think he must be getting ready to take a leave of absence. He got us doing. That's what I think. Y'all don't know. I think he's getting ready to take a leave of absence, and he's going to make sure we're able to do this. But this is, maintenance is, and there's verses, maintenance is what we do when we get out and witness, get on the street, when we're able to get up here and teach, you know. This is maintenance to keep us sharp, to keep us going. We should be growing regardless of what. And we know reward stage. Now this stage I added, this, I think I told y'all last time, it's just 5 stages. But there is a reward stage. Why is there a reward? When you train and do things, like I just showed you, things happen. You know, quality of life get better. Issues that you had get better. We know when we are saved, not only in the life to come, but in this life, man, God sees us through. We get rewarded and things for how we live in obedience and stuff. We get rewarded. And so, you know, that's why I say I was able to put spiritual context with all these stages of behavior change. So, Brother Richard, you can name it. I mean, I got it, not that part, but from sinner to saint, stages of change. Christian life, you know, whatever, you know, because I know you'll get the title, but that's from sinner to saint. If you know something better, stages of change in a Christian's life, or you can just put saints, that says it all. Stages of change. All right. Define, so now we're going to get in behavior. Define behavior. Before I get, that's why I say this is all introduction, so I'm going to get into behavior. The definition of behavior, I like it. It is how someone acts. It is what a person does to make something happen, to make something change, or to keep it the same. Behavior is a response to things that are happening internally, thoughts and feelings. Externally, the environment causes our behavior. If it's rain, it's cold. Our response to the gospel, you know, how did you behave when you first met your wife or husband, and over the years, has that changed or not? I mean, you know, we all have a behavior, a response to behavior. As Christians, it's important because we are examples. This is how the world, our behavior dictates to the world what we are like, what we are about. And as we are representative of Christ, so like I say, we got a job, just like I got a job to do to try to get people to train and get them to understand. We got a job to do, and like I say, that'll start that next week. We got a job to do. We just don't get saved and think, well, this is it, and enjoy it, but we got work to do. Our behavior dictates a lot how people perceive us. If Brother Chris came like how he said his family was with him and his wife, listen here, he had an effect on, maybe she didn't say nothing back then, but shoot, 2 years later, she's still thinking about that. That just shows, when I came here, how y'all behave. I listened to words, but I was looking, because everybody, it's like, people talk. Everybody's talk. But what is your walk like? What is your walk like? We can all talk. So let's look at some behavior. We're going to look at, and we're going to see that all through the Bible. That's how we can relate to the Bible, because we see the behavior of different people. Let's, like I say, our behavior dictates to others what we really are, whether we're right or wrong. Our behavior can honor God or dishonor God. It can do that. Even like your behavior when you're not in church, how is it? When your behavior when you're at work, how is it? Your behavior when you're by yourself, what are you doing? So our behavior dictates everything. Let's go, I'm going to show you some behavior. Let's go to 1 Samuel. And I just picked these up, there plenty of them. Let's go to 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel 15. And we know this here. 1 Samuel 15, let's go 3 to 8. I'm going to go quick on this. So we know the story. Saul's supposed to destroy the Amalekites. He's supposed to destroy the Amalekites. Verse 3 tells you, now go and smite the Amalek, and also destroy all that they have. This is verse 3 in 1 Samuel 15. All that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and women, infant, suckling, ox, sheep, camel, and ass. So we know, let's fast forward, we know that he didn't do that, because it ain't say he took Agag, that's the king of the Amalekites, alive and only destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword, but it said, but Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and the fatness and of the lamb and all that was good, and they would not only destroy them, but everything that was vile and with refuse, they destroyed utterly. Okay, that ain't what God said. Saul's behavior dishonored God because he gave him a command. He told him what to do. Now, as we go forward, look what Samuel rebuked Saul, what he said on 20. And Saul said unto Samuel, yeah, I obeyed the voice. So this is bad behavior. And it's out for the world to see. So our behavior, when we say we are a child of God and we're saved, our behavior needs to match up with that. So we see as we go forward, Saul, he said, I obeyed and have gone the way the Lord sent me and brought back Agag the king. But he told you to destroy that and have ordered to destroy the Amalekites. But the people took the spoil, and you the king, the people took the spoil and the oxen and the chief of the things that should have been only destroyed to sacrifice unto the Lord God and Gilgal. And Samuel said, had the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and hearken than the fat of the lamb. So the prophet told him, you should have did what you're supposed to do. Now your behavior is going to cause judgment on yourself, and we know, right, God took the kingdom from him for us just being king, That's when he picked David to take his place. So we see, in 24, and Saul said to Samuel, I have sinned. So he acknowledged it, for I have transgressed the commandment. The commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. So we see, and behavior. Behavior matters when we look at, and I'm about ready to close, behavior matters. The next king also, King David. Look at his behavior, and we know the story with Goliath and how where is it at? It's right next to it. No, Second Samuel. No, it's 1 Samuel 17. Just think. Well, I got to go quick, or we got to shut down. We see David's behavior when he challenges Goliath, but all the other men of Israel, they were running scared. And he was like, for who is this? Look what David said and spoke to the men that stood with him in 26. And David spake unto the men and stood saying, what shall be done to the man that killed Philistine and taketh away the reproach of Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And we go forward, we see he speaks this all the time. He was not even afraid of Goliath because he knew he had God on his side. He wasn't even worrying about it. We know the battle. Took his head off. Great behavior. But then as we go in 2 Samuel, I think we know he sinned against Bathsheba, and we know what happened then. That dishonored God. And the prophet Nathan had to check him on it. You know, poor behavior. It's going to cost you, David. It's going to cost you. So that's why I say, and our behavior is going to honor God, and people looking at dishonor God. And we got to, like I say, we need to be paying attention, like I say, because we got a job to do. And just like all these behaviors, it was jobs to do. Some of them honored God, some of them dishonored God. And as we go forward, I'm going to close now. We'll go down each one of these, and like I said, I'm going to take all this off, keep the one per week, and I have verses and things. Thank you for the opportunity. I see it's that time. Time to shut down. So next week we'll start with pre-contemplation. I'll have verses. This is the stage. It'll probably take a little longer because it's a lot of meat that goes with this. We are in our darkest hour and darkest stages in our hearts. So we'll go with that, and then we'll go on down, Father. All right.